Hello and welcome to the Football Revolution. I'm your host, Gio. Thanks for joining us. And alongside me, the Encyclopedia of Football, my co-host, VIG. Good evening, my friend.
Rich words. Good evening.
Mate, I'm glad that you liked the intro that you wrote for yourself.
Yeah, very good. I'm glad you got the email.
How's everything, mate? You well? Everything good? We're now ready for, a month's worth of black bags under your eyes and 1,000 coffee cups. But you've already...
If I don't have them already, I'm definitely haven't got them now. So
I've now realised you were in training over in France. You weren't just visiting your brother and catching up with your little bro, but you were also getting used to those 10 coffees, 12 coffees a day. So you're ready for the World Cup. You were in training,
getting acclimatised. You've got to put in the work if you want the reward at the end of the day. So
are you ready to go? Then there should be no excuses. You should be able to watch all these games, even the 3 games when there's three.
When no one else is awake.
Yeah, you should be able to watch everything.
I'm going to give it a crack.
Yeah, I am too.
See how it goes.
I don't think I'm as well trained as you are, but I'm definitely going to have a shot. The greatest show on earth has started with host Qatar kicking off the World Cup against Ecuador, which we'll talk about a little bit more later in the show. No A-League men's action for a few weeks, but we'll have an exciting A-League women's wrap coming a little later. Congratulations to the Wellington Phoenix on breaking the women's crowd record, 5,213, which is a pretty cool achievement, even though the result didn't go to plan.
Yeah, that's breaking the record for a crowd attendance is it's a great start to the season. So hopefully they can push on from that, and hopefully that sends out a message to the rest of the league. Get down there and support the girls.
The bar is very high though. So in your first game ever in the A-League women's competition,
in the cake tin,
yeah, you've broken the record. So then only way, I don't know. Is there any other way from there?
Well, look, if you've broken it once, why can't you do it again? So, let's stay positive and see what they can do this season.
Mate, I like that positive nature. And we wish Jets player Adriana Konjarski all the best with her recovery after colliding with Raw keeper Hensley handcuffs. So there could be a couple of jokes there. That's why I made sure I put in her full name there. But look, not after what's happened. If it was something that was clumsy and that, then maybe so. But it looks like she has a pretty serious injury. So we do wish her all the best in her recovery. And it was an accident. It wasn't intentional, but unfortunately she will miss quite a few weeks if the footage is as accurate as I think it will be. And our World Cup Peely Awards are also here to entertain you. So both the women's wrap as well as the Peely Awards will fill in our usual revolutionised roundup for at least a month or so, and then they'll be back. But until then, you'll get a new couple of segments.
Yeah,
pretty exciting.
Yeah, good. Peely Awards.
Yeah, the Peely Awards are amazing. Sydney looked really good against Celtic and came away with a confidence-building win. Always a difficult assignment for Angers men with the travel and being a friendly. But the Sky Blues put on a good show. Heward Bell was excellent, as was our friend Max Burgess, who scored the winner with a brilliant Arjen Robben-type goal.
Yeah, and people are screaming out saying, why isn't he starting week in, week out for Sydney FC? But
we've been screaming that, so it's...
We have. When I said people, that's exactly who I meant. So,
okay.
Yeah, someone's got to hit the nail on the head there and got something right. But no, he's a terrific player. He's got quality. He's got time on the ball, and he's got a brilliant left foot. So it's good to see him scoring a goal, and hopefully he gets his chance the rest of the season.
Were you excited about Sydney's performance?
Yes. Look, Celtic have come off a 24-hour flight. They've had one training session to loosen up a bit. I'm not a fan of friendly football games. They're good in the preseason. To get minutes in the legs to build up your fitness, but I'm just not a fan of mid-season football games. As much as the players tell you that they're happy to be here, they're not. Yeah,
look, maybe the way you do it is you say to them that they're only going to get paid based on some sort of criteria. So if you score no goals, right, you get that portion of your payment is non-existent. If you concede more than X amount of goals, or we also take off. So you might be coming for free. That way, it encourages your team to put in, right?
Yeah, look, it's a marketing ploy. A lot of them would be happy to come out here to see a bit of sun. I saw Everton boys down at Bondi Beach doing a bit of yoga and stretching on the beach. So that's good enough. If that's good enough for me, that's good enough for them, I think.
I'm more worried about the Celtic boys. If we had seen them down the beach, then the nearest chemist they would have all been hopping into, wouldn't they? Get some sun release.
If they were down the beach on Sunday, I tell you what, they would have been absolutely roasting. So,
all right, Wednesday the Wanderers open their Sydney Super Cup campaign against Merseyside Giants Everton. Marco Ruden's team, one of the early pace setters in the A-League, will fancy their chances against Frank Lampard's side, who haven't started the season very well at all.
Yeah, look, we'll see how good the A-League is compared to the Premier League, I guess. So, the Wanderers are coming off a high with the Derby win. and Everton out here, played a game against Celtic just to loosen up, and now they've got the Wanderers. So it'll be interesting to see, and it'll be a good test for the Wanderers because there's obviously some quality players in that Everton side.
Yeah, most certainly is. Is there anything else I didn't see, VIG?
I don't know. Do we? No, let's roll into the roundup.
All right, we have got plenty. I know you're excited to get into some of this stuff.
There's plenty happening. Look, there's five women's games, so let's get into it and we'll chat a bit about that.
All right, just before we get into that, this week in the Player Escape Room, we are joined by Wellington Phoenix's star off-season recruit, top-notch midfielder, Stephen Ugarkovic. So I can't wait to have a chat with him. A-League women's table. Okay, there's only been one round, but Melbourne City, Raw, Adelaide, Western United all on top of the table with 3 points after all collecting important wins. And then rounding out the top 6, Canberra and Perth, who had a draw. My weekly wrap has been replaced by Shout Out. I did contemplate removing it, but I thought, you know what, if it's good enough for the boys, it's good enough for the girls, and they all put in a fantastic performance on the weekend. So dedicating a weekly song to a team or a player for their good or bad performance. This week's Shout Out goes to City's live wire, Maria Rojas. I've chosen for her Megan Trainor, Major Look. She most certainly did. Wow, amazing performance. Everything she touched looked $1 million. She looked dangerous every time she had the ball, and I actually had a few goosebumps, a few tingles every time she got the ball because I thought, wow, this girl could do something with this. So, for me, this week's shout out goes to City's Maria Rojas, Megan Trainor's Major Look.
You going to sing us some of the song?
No, I don't know the words. Mate, you know what? I might start if we can get their budget increased, we might be able to start putting some snippets in. Look, even if it's only on the video portion of things. So the show is now the full show now is on video, which is on our YouTube channel. So look, I can guarantee that. I don't know if in the audio side we might have to speak to the audio team, but we might be able to get a snippet in there as well.
Might be able to Photoshop it in or something. Yeah.
Okay, our A-League women's wrap, as promised, is up this week. So similar to the men's, but slightly different. So we'll give you the score, a player that was worth the admission, lesson from the game, and a game fact. So the first game was the Brisbane Roar versus Newcastle Jets on the Saturday. The score was 2-1 to the home team, the Brisbane Roar. For me, the player that was worth the admission alone was Shay Connors. The Raw forward turned the Jets inside out, creating both goals. She was absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised if the men's team goes and knocks and asks if they can borrow a few games as well, because she brought something to the table I haven't definitely seen in the Raw team, probably haven't seen in the A-League, full stop.
Maybe Charlie Austin wants her in the squad so he can get some service or something.
He's begging, please. I'm telling you, she was fantastic. The lesson from the game is the Jets don't play out from the back unless you do more work at training. So get to training, start working out. The goalkeeper was absolutely chaotic. She came out to kick the ball and
play to your strengths.
Yeah,
right?
play to your strengths. Yeah, and if strengths means kicking up into the grandstand, it's not pretty. It's not the sort of football I'd play. But if it means it costs you 3 points, then just stick with what's easiest for you. And the game fact for me was no taking it easy in round one with 25 fouls and 6 yellow cards. Now, I know this wasn't a friendly, but it was the opening game of the season. So usually you sort of...
Friendly fire, 25 fouls.
25 fouls, 6 yellow cards, but usually isn't there a bit of a jab and move and stuff and you kind of test your opponent out? There's not going out for the knockout. These guys were going full out for a TKO.
Yeah, well, hungry for 3 points and, started the season with a bit of a bang.
So, look, it was a good first game. The second game of the Saturday triple header was Canberra United versus Perth Glory. I still can't understand how we have a team in the women's comp or the men's comp that don't have a team in the reverse. But
I'm still trying to figure out how you know which game was first, second, and third when they were all 3 p.m. kickoffs.
I'm just by alphabetical putting a theory together.
Three games at the same time. That's I don't know. Well, they've got to work on something like that.
No, that's the new thing that they're doing now. So you got all 3 games at once. You can watch them all at once. I find it hard enough watching one game, but apparently now I'm going to have to get good at watching 3 at one time. So I just watched them all separately. That was the easiest way. But Canberra United hosted Perth Glory. It was a 2-2 draw. Pretty interesting game. The player that definitely was worth the bucks that you paid to go and watch was American import Gabrielle Lindsay Coleman. She bagged a goal and looked dangerous throughout. Definitely like what I saw from her. What I think they need to be working on, and this is both teams, is corners. So neither team's keepers should leave their line ever unless they do a lot of work with the goalkeeping coaches. They came out, didn't get close to the ball, and they both conceded from corners. So my idea would be stay on your line, get your defenders to challenge and just load up your posts as well, because if you start leaving your line, you're going to be copping lots of goals this year. And the game fact for me is 42 shots in this clash, only 15 on target, and I'll show off my math skills. That was only 35% on trying to hit the old onion bag.
Not bad from you.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You might be in line to take up VIG stats, man.
No way. The VIG stats man's a different level. I'm just not bad at maths, and these days, like I said, without carry the one, do this and all this weirdo stuff, you just get out a calculator and you just punch the numbers in, right? So for you, it's the debutantes playing in the Melbourne Derby. So tell us about this one.
Yeah, Western United versus Melbourne Victory. First edition of the Melbourne Derby, I guess, this version of the Melbourne Derby. Score was 1-0 to the debutants. So player to watch or stood out worth the admission was young Western United defender Sydney Cummings. She's 5'10", I think, strong, commanding figure. She just dominated at the back. I thought she was brilliant. Lessons, look, Western United passing. I think they had 62% passing accuracy, but it's probably a big reason why they only had 41% possession, because they kept turning the ball over.
Yeah, look, it makes it very difficult when you're passing the ball, and you're losing the ball and you're only holding 41%. I just hope they don't replicate the men's style, which is suck up the pressure and then get on the counter, because it worked the first year, but it's not working this year. So teams have probably caught on to that, whether it be in the men's or the women's competition. So, yeah, I hope they've got a plan B.
And it's that new girls, Western with a huge scalp, a bit of rivals, and they're back-to-back champion in Melbourne Victory. So
yeah, look, you couldn't ask for more. Yeah, could you in the opening game?
For first game of the season, decent crowd out there. So it was all they could ever wish for.
What is it? It's all or nothing. You go in there, right, and they've given you the champions, right? So you go in there and you either sink or swim. And the lifeguards have happily said they're swimming nice on their backs and nice and comfy.
They were just doing breaststroke, weren't they? Just chilling.
So the fourth game, so the first of the Sunday games was the Phoenix's first game as well. So another debutante, as we said, huge crowd for them at home at the Cake Tin against a very good side in Melbourne City. Unfortunately, the crowd was the highlight of their day, and so it should be, but they didn't get the result they wanted, and Melbourne City ran out 4-1 winners. For me, this was a really easy one of the whole weekend. This was the easiest one for me to come up with. It was a carbon copy of Marco Tilio. It's live wire Maria Rojas. So she's almost the spinning image of him. She's dangerous. She's smart. She just looks, every time she's on the ball, there's panic stations for the defence. So she scored a nice goal, was fouled for the penalty, and she said, "Welcome to the league, the Phoenix." So a bit of a rough way for them to be introduced against a player like her in a team like City, but that's the way the cookies crumble.
She was hot like chili, wasn't she?
She was amazing. Yeah, she was fantastic. So the thing I think that they need to work on this week is Wellington's ball watching. You can as a fan or as a commentator or as guys like we are doing the media side of things. Yes, you can watch, but as a player, you can't ball watch. They were watching. The only thing they didn't do was applaud some of the play from City, but they were watching, and then before they actually realised the ball was behind them or the ball was around them or it was played in, a cross was played in, and it was just too late. So maybe they were just in awe. It was probably a bad game for them up against a team like that who are very well organised. But hats off to Melbourne City. Hopefully the Phoenix bounce back this week.
Phoenix are a very young side though.
They were very.
So maybe they're just overawed with the emotion of the occasion, and coming up against a Melbourne City side who have plenty of quality and have been there and done that before.
Yeah, most certainly. So, and the match fact for me was former A-League star Dario Vidicic's first game as coach of Melbourne City, as he follows in his father Rado's footsteps into the A-League coaching ranks. So, nice little bit of trivia there.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, it was. He's come out and, there's pressure on him. I know there was for the Phoenix for their first game, but his first game as head coach of City, and he's come out and it was a very impressive performance. And if you're a coach, I'd be chuffed with the performance they put in. And I suppose even from a fan's point of view or from guys like us who are trying to critique it, you couldn't ask for much more.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of City coaches, rumours about today that Patrick Kisnorbo could be on his way to League One in France with Troyes. So,
well deserved. Look, massive loss for us, but for the A-League here. And the thing is, though, when you put in performances like his teams have and they play a brand of football and he's brought in a winning culture and so much great things into Melbourne City, even with the star players they have, it's no surprise that other people are chasing you.
People are watching, and I think they're part of the City football group as well, but, perfect progression for him in his career. So
I don't think there'll be a shortage of coaches, though, trying to take over the reins at Melbourne City, do you, with the quality of players they have there?
No doubt. There'll be plenty lining up.
When you walk in and they say, oh, by the way, here's your roster, and you see Naboot, you see J-Mac, you see Glover, you see Tilio, you see
Mr. Glover. Even you and I could do it, I reckon.
That's what I'm saying. I think one of us is a big chance. Look, even if we take turns, so we can at least still host the show. Is that
just do 1 week each?
Yeah, we'll just do 1 week on, 1 week off. And moving to the last game of the round, VIG, how'd you see that one?
Yeah, Adelaide versus Sydney FC. Adelaide ran out 1-0 victors.
Why do they love playing each other so much? Doesn't matter what. It could be under 10s, it could be men's, women's, anything.
We've got to get the youth playing against each other, don't we?
Oh, definitely.
They should play the youth, then they play the women's, and then they play the A-League.
Oh, there's just something in there, right? It's just fireworks every time they play.
There's something about it, and South Australia or Adelaide have a big reputation for their youth program as well. So produce plenty of quality players. So
this one, like I said, tight game and late winner.
Yeah. So for me, worth the price of admission. Courtney Vine, she worked tirelessly up and down all day for Sydney. She's involved in everything. You know, she's played at the highest level with the Matildas now, and establishing herself in that squad. So, unfortunately, she's just on the wrong side of the scoreboard, and I think she did everything she possibly could to help Sydney get something out of that game. So
I think Adelaide's keeper did as well. I think she deserves a mention. I know she did cop a goal, but I think she saved numerous times. She kept them in the game. I think Princess Abini had quite a few good chances, and Vine was always at it and causing all sorts of problems for him. But I think she was fantastic as well.
Yeah, most definitely. So Adelaide have got to do more with their large amount of possession. They had 59% of possession, but they might not be so lucky next time.
Yeah, I think when you have that much possession, you need to do something with it. And look, on another day, Sydney might have put 3 or 4 past you and you end up losing 4-1 when you've dominated the game. So just take your chances. And the thing is, it's great to get an early warning shot and it doesn't cost you 3 points, right? Yeah,
look, they've come away with a 1-0 win, but at the same time, they'd be a little bit disappointed with themselves, I think.
Yeah, most certainly. All right, and what's your match fact?
It's the first time Adelaide has beaten Sydney in the last 5 attempts.
Yeah, so it was 4 wins to Sydney before that. So there was no draws in there. It was all sky blue.
One-way traffic.
Adelaide have got a little bit of payback, and now they're on a run. Let's see if later in the season they can make it 2 from 2. All right, that's the end of our A-League women's wrap. So up after the break, we welcome to the player escape room Wellington Phoenix superstar Stephen Ugarkovic. Speak to you after the break.
You're listening to the Football Revolution.
Joining us now in the player escape room is a man who's had over 150 appearances in the A-League. He's the heart of his team's midfield. Please welcome to the show Wellington Phoenix Stars off-season signing, Stephen Ugarkovic. G'day, mate. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me and looking forward to it.
Mate, I'm very excited to get you on. As I said to you off air, a lot of the boys at both the Wanderers, even the Jets, and now at the Phoenix all talk about how great a guy you are. So I don't know whatever you're doing off to pay them off, but I'd keep doing it if I was you.
Like I said, I need to find out who it was so I can buy my coffee.
Mate, I think there'll be a few coffees though. There's a handful of guys on each club who've all said you're a top guys, so I'm very excited. Mate, after stints with the Jets and the Wanderers, it's been a busy year for you. You were married in June, so congrats.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And now you've also moved to the Phoenix. So tell us why the move to Wellington. Was that your honeymoon gift to your wife, or what was the thinking behind moving to Wellington?
Oh, it was something that popped up in the back end of last year that caught my eye. The style of football and things like that, but also the challenge off the field. I said to my wife, it's an extended honeymoon, so just enjoy it. And it's a year away for us to get to know each other a bit more. But on the field, it was somewhere where I can get back to enjoying my football, which I have been, and challenge myself in a different system and in a different country as well. So that was the main idea of it.
Have you just signed for the 1 year? Is that the plan at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment, so growing up, I was always on the longer term contracts. In the last few years, I like to just have that 1 year contract and just see where things go. So it's also, like I said, it was a challenge, and it was a different, it was out of both our comfort zones going to a new country. So also, it was something I had to look at if we're both enjoying our time here, that we have that option to stay. And at the moment, we're loving our time here and really enjoying it.
So it's safe to say, though, you're still an Aussie Croatian. You're not going to become a Kiwi or change your citizenship or try and play for the All Blacks, are you, or the All Whites, or whatever they classify themselves in football?
I'm a Croatian through and through. So unfortunately, I think by law you can only hold 2 passports. That'd be a hard one to sacrifice. But yeah, really enjoying our time here at the moment, and it's enjoying my football as well.
Mate, going back a little bit in time, so your father, John, played in the old NSL for Sydney United, and obviously they've had a lot of success this year, making the cup final of the FFA Cup, and unfortunately, running out of gas against the Bulls, but a fantastic achievement for a team playing in a lower tier. Has he been your greatest influence on your career? Yeah,
looking back on it, growing up, it was him and my brother, and also my cousin. That's at Western United, Stephen Lustica. So he's actually my first cousin. So growing up, getting into football, I didn't really have a choice because the old man played, my brother played, and my cousin played. So I was chucked into it even at a younger age, and I loved it. So growing up playing against them and watching the old man and looking through photos of how he used to play, because obviously never got the chance to really watch him because he was finished by the time I started getting into it. But yeah, that were the biggest influences in my life to follow in their footsteps and make them proud.
So he must be buzzing now that he gets to watch you. So you didn't get to watch the old man, but he gets to watch his son play in the A-League and that. So I think he's vicariously living through you and probably thinking to himself, if only I had these opportunities when I was playing.
Yeah, he's a quite he loves his football, so he analyzes every game and everything I do. So he's always calls me up. We always speak after games and things I can do better. And let me tell you, he tells me things I've done bad as well. So it's not always just the good stuff. He's the kind of guy that'll tell me where I've stuffed up, and sometimes it's what I need to hear, and he puts me back in my place and just things I need to work on and I can be better at. So that's something that I'm grateful for, to have someone pushing me in that direction.
It's quality, man. Do you catch up with Stephen Lustica often? I think, one of the downsides of the A-League obviously is the limited teams, which means you play each other 25 times. But the good thing is if you've got a cousin who plays for a club, then you get to see him more often. So it's probably in your favour. So do you get to see him much? Do you get to spend much time with him?
Yeah, so he got married in the off season as well. So we went down there to Melbourne. He got married in Melbourne for the wedding. So yeah, we try to catch up on when they come here and when we go down to Melbourne for a coffee at least before the game. But usually in the off season we have family events and we tend to catch up there, which is good. Outside the football environment, to put our hair down because we're quite good pros, and in the season we stick to what we have to do and things like that. But it was good in the off season to catch up with a few drinks and stuff like that. So that was good. And yeah, trips away, we always try to catch up for that coffee even before or after the game.
Has he twisted your arm at all trying to get you down to Western United? I know he's telling you there's some silverware. There was some silverware. Not so much looking like that this year, but has he tried to get you down to play Melbourne?
It's actually it's a different, not a different relationship. It's a relationship where we don't tend to tap into each other's football. It's a relationship where we just enjoy like having each other around, and we actually talk about different things other than football, which is good because you can't always be football. But we, at the end of the day, we talk about European leagues and Croatian teams and things like that. So yeah, we just stay away from that side of things, and we just get on just in other ways.
Mate, I'm going to edit that and replay it for my son. He's 12. He plays at Sydney Olympic, and all he talks about is football, FIFA. He starts rambling on about something, telling me this. And I said, "Is this a real story?" He said, "No, this happened on FIFA, Dad." And I was like, "Can we talk about something else?" So if I can get one of the pros of the A-League telling him that there needs to be other things to football, maybe he'll listen. He doesn't want to listen to his old man, so I'm going to snippet this and I'm going to send it to his phone.
And just play it for him.
Ugarkovic, yeah, and hopefully maybe he'll listen to you. He doesn't listen to me.
Maybe. Tell him there's a bit more to Call of Duty as well. I enjoy that. So if he can get on that as well, that's a good start.
That's the worst. I'm getting way away from this one. After a few draws to the start to the season, the team turned on an excellent performance last week. How's the vibe in the squad?
Yeah, I think in general in football, you win on the weekend. That week leading to the next game, life becomes easier. It's just everyone's happier, and it was sort of I felt personally as well, just a little thing off our back where we got that first win, and the way we did it was as well encouraging. So it's something that we can build on, and I think the performances before that were encouraging, but we were just lacking maybe defensively, or little mistakes costed us. So I think that win on the weekend was something to just give us motivation and belief going forward.
Mate, I don't want to harp on the past because, like I said, now you're a Wellington Phoenix player. But is there one thing you miss about the Wanderers? Is there anything in particular that you do miss about Wanderers as a player, or something they do there, or whatever? Is there something?
Yes and no. I think here, like, you can pinpoint certain things, like the facilities over there were excellent, but then we come here and we get this massive upgrade in these new facilities, so that overtook it. But yeah, I grew close to certain players, and relationships that you form within each team are different. So there was players that I got on really well back at the Wanderers, like Tommy Michello. We became really close. So that's someone, yeah. So certain players and the relationships I had with players, I miss. So, but other than that, I'm really enjoying my time here. Like, the boys here are excellent, and the whole club here and set up, I'm really loving it.
It's great news for the Phoenix fans. So I did try and set a bit of a trap there for you, but you passed it with flying colours. Mate, the A-League men's competition breaks after your game against Western United on the weekend until early December. But your women's team play their first ever home game against Melbourne City next Sunday. Has it created a buzz around the club?
Yeah, so at the moment we're using the same facility, which is exciting, so we can all work together, and it's good to bounce off each other and create that club family as well. So I'm sure a lot of us will be going down to that game. It'll be a good game to watch, and to finally have them back home will be excellent and exciting. So we're really looking forward to that as a club, just to bond together and enjoy it.
Is it also, I'm guessing this is something that you didn't experience last year, but I'm guessing the players are also excited about the fact they don't have to keep coming to Wollongong and relocating and everything. So to be able to play as a New Zealand team in New Zealand is something rare for the last few years, but probably something that's also going to give you guys a better shot at achieving something this year.
Yeah, of course. I think playing in our home field, and looking back at my past in the A-League, coming to Wellington, it's not a fun trip because obviously the international departure and the earlier flights and things like that. It is a tough trip to come to, so we need to maximize that on the field and be ready to come out flying against teams, because it does usually take 10 or 15 minutes for teams to get into the game just because of the travel and things like that. And just having the home fans behind us it's been a great start to the year, so hopefully they keep coming out.
What's the team's goals for the season? Obviously, at the start of the season, Ulfak and the coaching staff say that this is what we want to achieve. Is there a minimum bar for you guys?
Finals, that's for us the minimum, that we need to make the finals and do well. And last year, obviously, they made the finals and then losing to the eventual winners, but they gave them a run for their money in that game. So we're aiming for finals and higher up, as high as we can be, so we can give something back to the fans and things like that.
What about personal targets, mate? I know you've represented Australia at youth level and stuff. Have you got any personal targets this year hoping to achieve, other than obviously just spending some time in Wellington with the wife and getting to know your new teammates, or is there a personal target you've got there yourself?
Yeah, I've got personal goals that I like to keep close to myself, with goals and assists and tackles and things like that, because I pride myself on that hard work. But ultimately, if you play well and the team's doing well, you're going to stand out as players, and then your performance obviously gets spoken about more. But I think the key for me is just to win as many games as I can personally, because I love winning. And for me, I just want to play finals. I've only played one final series back at Newcastle, so I just want to experience that again and enjoy my football moving forward, because getting back to enjoying my football and just really just having a crack.
Oh, I can't believe that stat. You've only played finals football once.
2 finals games. One was it was a semi-final against Melbourne City when we won, and then straight into the final where we lost against Victory and the VAR. So Costa still reminds me of that to this day, when the goal was offside and the VAR turned off. So still a little bit sour about that. But he brings that up every now and then, which is quite funny, and we can look back on it now to say we played against each other in a final and now we're here together.
Mate, that has to be on my list this year now. Ugarkovic plays more final football. I can't believe that. Anyway, I'm not going to harp about it. It's something that I think should have changed, but hopefully this year we add another finals appearance or multiple finals appearances to the record. Mate, let's get into the first game I like to play with my guests. So this is called Six Aside. I'll ask you 6 questions comparing you and one of your Wellington Phoenix teammates. You just tell me honestly who you think's better at this, whatever I name.
Done. Sounds good.
First one. Who would be a better superhero, you or Ollie Sale?
Ollie's got more height about him.
Okay. Could you compare him to someone? Is there someone out there in Marvel land or DC land that you think could power or something?
Mr. Stretch, Fantastic Four.
Okay. What about who works out harder in the gym, you or Tim Payne?
Me, for sure.
Okay. Is he lazy in the gym?
Not lazy, just gets through it.
I love that. Look at you sitting on the fence there. All right. Is there anybody in there that if I'd given you that person, it would have been a tough, because that's straight away out the blocks you just said me. One there that if I named them, you would have said, oh, I don't know, and had to really decide. If it was
a lot of the young boys work really hard in the gym out here. It's good to see they're trying to better themselves every day. Like Wayno is very strong and powerful, and you can see he gets it from the gym, because every gym session is in there working hard. So a lot of the young boys do really push it to the edge.
Yeah, but is that also because of socials? Come on, let's be honest here, Stephen.
It's funny when the cameras come out, a lot of the boys are doing their Tabatas and their bicep curls and their summer weights, so that's good to see as well.
As I said, your dad missed out on a lot of things when he was obviously playing in the old equivalent to the A-League, but he didn't have to worry about what hat he was wearing, what he said. Did someone recorded his thongs off or on?
Exactly.
So at least now that there's some pros and cons, but I think these days you have to look good, because otherwise you're going to get caught out on socials, right?
Yep, the social media is everywhere, so you just got to be careful.
Who's the better roommate, you or Scott Wooten?
Oh, I've roomed with Scotty, actually.
Oh, you have? Okay, I got that one right then.
It was quite a good room, actually. He fell asleep with his laptop on.
Did we call it a draw? I know you guys had start of the season. I haven't ever had a draw in any of these, and I'm normally pushing for an answer. But
Yeah, no, I'll call that a draw because I think we're both quite good.
if I said it was a nil or draw, Scotty would be happy with that. He'd think that was
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Clean sheet
Yeah,
and love and life.
yeah, we'll play that. We'll play a draw for that one.
Mate, if you can say you had a draw with a ex-United player, it's not a bad result, right?
Yeah, very good result, actually.
Who takes longer in the shower, you or David Goldenball's ball?
Oh, Bally for sure.
Does he?
Yeah, 100%.
Is he take the longest out of everybody?
No, there's a few more that take longer, but he's definitely looking after
Got
himself.
you covered though. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got me covered.
Mate, is it just showers? There's no baths and all these sorts of fancy things, is there? I could imagine him being in there having a bath with some.
Nah, he loves a sauna and then into the shower after. So yeah, he looks after himself.
Okay, mate. You guys haven't played at Allianz this year, have you yet?
No, I think we're there in either December or January.
So Joe Gauchi was telling me the other day they got those fancy shower heads. You know, it looks like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So mate, when you get there, just make sure you get a good first pick. So even before you put your boots on or anything, even before you get ready for the game, just make sure you go and leave your towel and your stuff just
in that shower slot. Yeah, I'll have a look at that.
I don't know how many there are, but I've heard that they're fancy out at Sydney at Allianz, and the stadium's amazing. So make sure you get first dibs on that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll remember that.
Yeah, make sure you jump ahead of Bally. Now, Bally, if you don't get ahead of Bally, you might end up missing out altogether.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's funnier, you or Costa Barbarouses? Now, I know you said he gave you a bit of stick about previous results, so this could be another close one.
Yeah, I think Costa, he's got the little one-liners, and he's got, I'll say, the experience behind him. So I'll give Costa that one.
Mate, I know when I've chatted with Costa in the past, it's very subtle, right? You don't know that you don't know he's nailing you, but he's done it quite easily.
Exactly.
Walk away later, you're kind of impressed, but you're also embarrassed because you're kind of like, that was too easy, but it was fun, so you kind of let it go.
You sometimes you walk into it with him and he takes advantage of it, and him being around the track a bit longer than me, I'll give him that.
It's nice to have him back there, isn't it? He was obviously a big player for the Phoenix in the past, and he's been around and had success at the Victory and Sydney FC. But to have him back home, being a Kiwi, is a big thing for you guys.
Yeah, he's excellent. He's the way he played, especially on the weekend. His hard work, not just with the ball, without the ball, and he's such just a good guy, and I get on quite well with him, and I'm pleased to be working with him now because I've always admired him, and he's a good goal scorer, and he's just a good leader as well.
Mate, I know this for a fact. He loves to copy off. He loves to copy off Ted Lasso. So last year they invited all players over to his family. So you'll know if he really likes you at Christmas time if you get an invite. If you get an invite over to the family dinner, to the Barbarouses rip off Ted Lasso lunch or dinner, whatever it's classified as, you know you've made it. If you haven't, then you've been warned.
If not, I'll blame you.
Yeah, you can blame me. I'm like texting now and just saying, make sure you invite Ugarkovic times 2.
Or don't.
Yeah. All right, and the last one: who has better dress sense, you or Clayton Lewis?
I'll go me. Clay's black on black jeans, black shirt, runners. So I'll take that one off him.
Okay.
I change it up a bit. I go blue jeans, black shirt, so it's a little bit more colour.
So if you get him as a Chris Kringle this year, there's definitely going to be a piece of colour thrown in there.
Yeah, I think so. For sure.
Okay. Is there anything going on for you guys at Christmas time there? Or I know obviously this is going to be an unusual situation with it shutting down now for the World Cup and then having a big break. So do you guys get a bit of time to yourselves that give you time to go and buy a few Chrissy presents so you can't say to the wife, look, I was so busy travelling with away trips, I bought you nothing this year. This year there's no excuse, right? First time ever. There's no excuse.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a team dinner after the game on the weekend, just for all of us to hang out and just bond a little bit. And I think they're planning a few days off after that. So I think that's the latest news. And then so back into it, I think early to mid next week, and then 3 weeks to prepare and get ready and to stay fit. I think that's the main one, that we all come in ready, not just lazy, going through the motions. We've got to stay on top of it, so we're ready to go after the break.
And just a bonus one, tell us one thing you're much better at than a teammate. So you can pick anyone here. This is a free wild card here. Just anything that you've noticed that you just know, I've definitely got that guy covered.
I got Ruth in golf, Alex Rufer.
Okay, you do?
Yeah.
Is he good at all?
He's good, but I've got him.
Okay, what do you play off?
About 15 at the moment.
Okay, you're going good.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting back into it. Yeah, had a little break last few, like in the off season, and now back into it, and we're all playing regularly, trying to get out there weekly and give it to each other.
What are the courses like in New Zealand?
Beautiful, very nice out here. Nice and soft with all the rain and wind, so it keeps it nice and soft. But yeah, we all signed up at a course nearby the training ground, so we all try to get out there once a week and have a hit.
Nice team bonding.
Yeah.
All right, mates, you did that too easily. So let's move into the second game I like to play, which is called Two Touch. So basically, I'll give you a topic or a word or a couple of words, and just in 2 words, you tell me your thoughts, hopefully without thinking too much, just what pops straight into your head. If you give me 3 words, I'm fine with that. It's quite often. Sometimes the VAR gets it wrong. You beat the offside trap, so I'm happy to wave play on if I need to. But you ready to go?
Yep, ready to go.
Talking during a movie.
Not on.
Okay, you're not a fan at all. So what about, is this at the cinemas, even at home, if the wife starts asking you, who's that character? Have we seen the movie before? It's just not on?
Got to be paying attention, and especially in the movies, if I'm zoned in, don't be chirping in my ear. I need to watch my movie, especially if it's one of those, the Marvel movies and stuff like that. I need to be just zoned in on them. And at home, a little bit, I'll give a little bit more leniency, but out in the movies, it's silence.
So what happens though, if it's someone with you, okay, maybe you can try. What about if it's someone a couple of rows back who's trying to impress his girlfriend on his first date or whatever?
No.
What's it?
I'll do the old, pretend, look back like I'm angry, but I won't actually say anything. I just act like the tough one, but I won't actually do anything.
All right. Ulfak Talay.
Switched on.
Okay. So is this the first time you've ever been coached by him?
Yes.
Okay. So what makes him unique?
His tactical side of the game.
Okay.
I was very impressed walking out. I remember, tell you a story, the first video meeting at the club this pre-season, we got together, a few of the new boys, and he wanted to explain the structure and things like that. And always looking at, in the past, playing against Wellington, you sort of have an idea. And I walked out of that meeting and I was like, I had no idea in the past about this structure. And then he looked at me and he goes, "You got it?" I said, "Not really." And he goes, "You will, but." So structurally and tactically, it's in depth and detail.
And you probably walked away from that meeting going, I made the right decision coming to the Phoenix.
Yeah, 100%. And even Scotty, when he first came out, he said the same thing. His first video meeting was like, wow. And I remember walking out of the meeting like, wow, a lot of detail. And if you get it right, you just know where players are going to be.
Well, mid to late 20s, right? You're not going to be learning much in football. So if you've walked into a room and walked out with more than you went in with, that's a unique situation, right? So
yeah,
it's mind-blowing for you, because usually you go in and you might take one small thing out of something someone's told you because you've been around the traps, it, been around, the Aussie setup, you've been around big clubs in the A-League, and to walk out of that, it must have gone blow your mind.
Yeah, it was actually eye-opening to say, because I've said to people, when you play Wellington in the past and you know the system, but then when you actually in the system, it's a completely different to what you actually see from the outside, which was refreshing.
Okay, nice. Sushi.
Katsu curry.
Okay, so you're a fan.
Yeah, I like a good katsu curry.
All right. So where do you go? Is there somewhere now I know in obviously in Sydney there is quite a few good places, but is there good places in New Zealand?
Yeah, there's this one not far from me where we live, but the best one I ever had was in Newcastle, out at New Lambton, and that was religiously once a week with the boys. So, yeah, big fan of a katsu curry. What
about the wife? Is that a date night, the sushi, or is that just a boys' night out?
Nah, I think that's she's not a massive fan of the katsu, so I'll get it when she's at work or something like that and bring it home.
Very cool. Karaoke.
Sometimes.
Can you sing?
Nah, but I'll give it a crack.
Yeah. What's your genre? What do you like? What sort of music do you listen to?
Bit of everything. So initiation song, I've done it once or twice. So this year I did a bit of Backstreet Boys.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll get up if I have to do it. I'll do it.
It's fantastic.
But I won't get up voluntary to do it, but I will do it. So I don't have to pay the fine, sort of thing as well.
Please tell me someone's got this on video.
No, most clubs I've been at, there's no phones allowed.
Who do I have to chase for this?
Nah, I think there's.
I'm trying to get my hands on this.
Usually, even at Newcastle, no phones allowed, so it's sort of an in-house thing, which is good to see. So, and it's a way to get up there and embarrass yourself the maximum you can. So anything you do with the boys is normal after that. So I'm quite for it within a team environment.
I'd love to see it. And look, I understand why, because there's some players who, would say it's kind of like, if you're trying to get in a fight and someone's holding you back, but you're kind of letting them hold you back. Some people will say, I can't believe you've released it, but they love every second, where there's some people who would really be upset by it, right? So you just couldn't risk it. You wouldn't know who would be happy with it and faking it. So, yeah, I totally agree. But like I said, I'd just love to be a fly on a wall. Next time there's a one, I'd just love somehow to be able to get myself in there just to watch one of these guys.
Yeah, it's quite a fun night when the boys get up and do it, because you obviously get a different range of players that have been around, players that are doing it for the first time, and then staff as well. So it's a good way to break the ice and just embarrass yourself, really.
Golf. I know we've touched on this previously, but
tough sport.
Okay, is that your favourite? Like now, I know a lot of, because it's not as physical on the body. There's a lot of footballers who play golf, and that's a good thing. Is that the next sport you go to, or is it just because it's easy on the body, or is there another sport that you enjoy just as much? That it's just...
Golf would be my go-to outside of football, because I like going there and just switching off and don't even think about football. So that's sort of where I switch off. And growing up, like even during COVID and stuff, got into it a lot with the old man, which was good. It was just a good bonding with my brother as well. So it's just somewhere where we go just to switch off, and it's challenging. It's one day you're playing unbelievable, the next day you go again and you're terrible. So it's a way to something to relax but also get better at it and challenge yourself.
Now that might be for you. Mine's the latter. I'm always terrible. So one day I'm good and one day I'm bad, and one day I'm terrible and the next day I'm even more terrible. But look, it is still a fun sport. Is somewhere like St Andrews, playing on a course like that, is that on your bucket list?
I'd love to play Pebble Beach.
Okay.
That would be one of the courses I'd love to play. But yeah, I remember I went with Jack Rodwell last year to, I think it's called the New South Wales, out near the city. So that was a beautiful course, probably one of the best I've played in Sydney. So I like trying new courses and experiencing new courses, because it's fun. Like you sometimes get sick of playing the same old course, but trying new ones is always good.
Nice. November World Cup.
Very different.
You a fan, not a fan? Look at all the players going down, right? They're trying to jam too many games into a period of time. Mane's has gone down. There's Pogba and a few others all missing now because they're trying to put the players through the ringer now. I don't think I'd ever say there's too much football, but when the players start to really, 11 games into a Premier League season, you're having to rest people because they're tired and fatigued. It means the players too hard, right? So would you never experiment with this again? It will be a great World Cup, we're hoping, but would you never experiment with the out of June, July World Cup again?
Don't think so, because when you look at the past, those World Cups, even the Euros, they're always in the off season, and it gives players throughout the year something to work to. And I think coming into the season, it's sort of 11 games, and players are getting picked off the last 11 games, whereas previously it's been the best players the whole year as well, and things like that. So I think, and obviously, there's been a lot of talk about things around the World Cup, but I think it's a tough period, because you only get those week or two before the World Cup starts. So I think there could be, when you look at it, a lot more upsets. So that side of things might be a bit more exciting, but then also you're missing out on a lot of big players going to the World Cup, which is also a downside of it. So yeah, it is what it is. Personally, I'd prefer it the old way, in the off season of players, and it's something that everyone can enjoy and watch.
They may get lucky because of the fact that you've got so many, superstars of the game potentially retiring at the same time. So there's talk of Neymar joining, Messi and Ronaldo and Modric and Neuer and all these sorts of guys. So you might get Neuer. So you might get, lucky because you have that. But I'm with you. I think go back to the traditional way. Go back to when it's right. Go back where the players get a chance to have a break and come in fresh rather than come in and they've been playing Champions League football and domestic football, and it's just a lot on the body.
Yeah, and I think also it gives teams, it's a World Cup, it's the biggest stage in the world. You want to have at least 2 or 3 weeks lead-in with the team, not just a week or two. You want to have at least 2 or 3 games before it starts to build that bond, because connections don't form overnight as well.
Look, you're going to have to be switching shirts. I know you're going to have the Socceroos jersey, then switching into the Croatian jersey, and then back for these games. So you're going to do a few kit swaps. But other than the 2 teams that I know you're cheering on, who do you like? If you had to put your money on someone now, who would you like to take it out?
Obviously, I want to see Croatia do well and the Socceroos, but if I was looking at it the other way, I do like Germany. I think they've got quite a good squad and the experience with a range of youth as well. So I think they're going to be quite strong as well.
Were you tempted to go to the World Cup? If they said to you now, hey, look, you can take off, here's a month, give you a chance to have an even better honeymoon than you originally did, would you go?
Not sure, actually. Tough question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. If it was somewhere like Europe or or a USA or something like that, like either Russia or USA the next one, I would probably jump at it. Yeah, but yeah, Qatar, I'm not sure. Yeah, if it was put in front of me, I probably would take it just to watch a few games and stuff like that.
I'm with you. As much as it's the greatest spectacle on earth, it depends on where it's at. And I remember a few months ago, I was talking to Mark Arena about it, and he said, I'll be going to Mexico and USA. And I said, I don't know what tour you're going on, but I'm coming. So
Yeah.
the guy who's played in the World Cup at a venue where there's other things to distract you and entertain you, then I'm in, count me in.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think the outside around it as well is quite important. What there is to do outside of the football, just for a bit of an experience as well.
VAR.
No comment.
Mate, look, I'll give you a couple of extra words here so that I don't throw you under the bus. The one a few weeks ago, the Raw game where they start saying now, once you have a certain number of players in the wall, you have to be honest. Yeah. Do they think you guys are going to start to pull out your rule book and start having a check while you're in the middle of a game? Hang on a sec. Let's just freeze the game here and let's just wait. We've got to have a quick read and see what rules. Just make it simple, right?
Yeah, like obviously losing that grand final as well, taking that far back, that was the original start of it where it sort of put me on the backside of it, and that was the first experience I really had with it. And yeah, like I said, we need to just speed up the games, and sometimes the process takes too long. If it's quite obvious, just lift your flag up as well and things like that. It's for me, just bring back football sort of thing, like just keep things flowing.
So there's no hope of when you hang the boots up after your great career, you're going to go in to become a VAR? No?
Nah. Definitely not. I think when you look around the world, how many ex-players become referees? So credit to them. They do cop a lot. And to be fair, like in the past, I was quite angry at them in games. And now when I look back at it, they don't deserve that treatment, and they do a job that they're there for, and they do well at it. And everyone's going to make mistakes. So obviously you just got to move on.
Nice cover up. And final question, away games.
Love them.
Who's your favourite? Who's your favourite? Now that you've been at 3 different clubs in the A-League, which is your favourite away game? Is it based on the stadium, facilities, fans? Who's your favourite?
I do love playing at Amy Park. It's probably one of my favourite fields. And yeah, Victory obviously got the good fans, and especially last year playing down there and then scoring a penalty and celebrating in front of them, copped a bit of stick. But just that atmosphere was amazing, and just Amy Park in general, I do quite enjoy.
Mate, last year, and I suppose a few seasons before, when they were having more success, it reminded me a lot of Europe. You know, watching their games when the crowds are there, and that's ideally what we want to bring here, right? So, the players, it's just the atmosphere and getting more people to games and getting that hype around like there is around the rest of the world. So, whatever they're doing there, I think we need to replicate. There's great things going on, obviously, at the Phoenix now, and having a women's team there and getting back into New Zealand. That's another side, and there's City and a few others. I think there's just a few clubs around that need to watch those blueprints and copy those to try and get everyone up to the same level. And that's, happening in the big leagues around the world. The cities and that with no cap, they spend more money, which pushes others to increase their standard as well.
Exactly. I think if everyone's forced to spend money, the league's just going to grow. And like I said, those fans down there are quite excellent. And if the whole league can follow that, and clubs are, which is good to see, and it's just going to grow the game domestically.
Mate, I know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate your time. I wish you all the best on the weekend in your final game before the World Cup. I also wish the Socceroos and Croatia good luck for you. So you've got a each way bet there. At least hopefully someone can finish in the placings. I also hope that you get invited to the Barbaroussa's family Christmas. If you don't, then you can blame me. And look, mate, you got an invite at my place anytime you want. I'm not a bad cook, so you got an invite here anytime. And mate, enjoy exploring New Zealand with your new wife. But mate, I wish you all the best for the rest of the season. I'll definitely keep in touch. And mate, I just hope things work out for you over in New Zealand.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of the year and look forward to chatting again.
Mate, most certainly. Take care.
Thank you. Take it easy.
You're listening to the Football Revolution.
Welcome back to the show. It was fantastic speaking with Phoenix star Stephen Ugarkovic, and we thank him very much for his time. Up now, as promised, and I know we're both a bit excited about this, we are going to start to talk about our World Cup Mealy Awards. So the tournament opened with host Qatar. They were beaten 2-0 by Ecuador, both goals coming in the opening 45 minutes, and the home fans had seen enough with thousands leaving at the interval.
Well, I wasn't sure if anyone was there because they were all dressed in white. So, I wasn't sure if they were seats or fans, but they did leave early, and Qatar put in a pretty dismal performance, didn't they? And credit to Ecuador. They were clinical. Ana Valencia was gun up top. He could have had a few more goals. So, they're a quality side. So.
You need a bit of trouble in at one of those games so that if they start causing problems, then you can tell the difference between the seats and the people, right? All right, so we get our first look at the Three Lions, the Flying Dutchman and Messi's Argentina amongst other teams in the next few days before Australia face their first extremely difficult assignment on Wednesday against the powerful French. So for the French, Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema joins Pogba and Kante on the injured list for the current holders. What are your thoughts on... I think good-looking Giroud's come in. So if you're going for looks, then it's a very nice replacement.
10 out of 10 if you're going for looks.
But as in football ability, you can't go much further than the guy who was absolutely superlative last year.
Yeah, look, it's first of all, it's great for the Socceroos, but second of all, it's terrible news for the tournament. Having the best player in the world for the last 12 months, missed the tournament through injury. It's a real shame. He's a quality player. I've said it for years now. He's a number 10 in a number 9's body, but he's just unbelievable. He can score goals. He's silky. He can set up goals. He brings players into the game. They're going to miss him a lot. But when they say good news for Australia, when you lose, I want to lose with the best, right? I want the best taking me out. I want to say I lost to a team that had Benzema or we beat a team. You don't want to say we had a 1 or draw, but they're missing this guy and that the guy. So look, unfortunately, you take the cards you're drawn. Australia can't force these guys to play injured, but it's better when, for me, I'd much rather go out and test myself against the best. Yeah, 100%. And you want to play against the best players in the world, and he's right up there with the best. So it's a shame that. It's a shame for the Socceroos players that they won't get to play against him and test themselves against him, especially for the defenders. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. He's injured. He can't compete. And they've got some top quality players that can replace him. I think Giroud's probably gonna start for them. But they've got players like Dembele on the bench. So they're stacked. They're stacked up top. They've got one of the best attacking, the best attacking players in the competition. So they're going to be dangerous no matter who plays. So we're going to have to be, at our best. We're going to be at 110%.
Look one step forward, though. So, okay, we think that they'll still be able to have enough firepower to be able to get out of the group. But there's no doubts how great a player he is, but how badly does that affect their long-term chances of going back-to-back? Is it a big, massive blow?
I think the deeper they go in the tournament, the more that they will, they would have relied on him. I think because
but not just rely on him, but then if things aren't going your way, Giroud comes on with 20 to go. Now it's somebody else coming on, right? So it affects it's a snowball effect, right?
Yeah, 100%. So they're going to have to change their game plan a bit and their tactics a little bit. But look, they've still got tremendous amounts of quality. I don't see it being a huge issue for them if they go deep into the tournament.
Or if you are, like I said, someone that believes in magic, maybe the voodoo is out. Because as we said, right, Germany, Spain,
they've all gone out.
They'd love to add France to that list, right? They go out the group stage after winning the World Cup. So no better way than the voodoo doctor to get the Ballon d'Or winner out of your forward line, right? That really plays into going out straight sets.
Arnie's been doing a few dances over in Qatar.
I don't know what they've been doing, but look, it's another big name and another thing that, has gone wrong with this World Cup. But look, the show goes on. The Socceroos side of things, having lost winger Martin Boyle, but this hands an opportunity, young Marco Tilio. How much does this affect the Socceroos?
Yeah, look, cool.
I know it's not a Benzema effect, but
yeah, Boyle's been an important part of our puzzle, part of the team for the last 4 years. This whole qualifying campaign, he probably started more matches than not. So he's a huge omission. He just hasn't been right all season really. So. The knee troubles have succumbed. He's succumbed to the knee troubles. But, as I say, one door closes, another one opens. And we spoke about Tilio being, a bit stiff, not making this initial 26-man squad. He's a tremendous player. He's an impact player. It just means that, someone else is going to have to start. I think it may be Craig Goodwin. Play him on the left and maybe Lachie on the right and Duke up top or McLaren. So it gives an opportunity to Goodwin, who's in tremendous form at the moment, probably the most in form attacking players out of the lot. So gives him a chance to step in. It's a shame that Boyle won't be there, but it also gives a chance to Tilio we can use him as an impact player off the bench, I think.
He has been probably one of the most effective players we've had playing in a European competition in the last, 2 years. So every time you watched him, he's been in excellent form in Scottish League. Then I know he disappeared somewhere and then he's come back again, and maybe he hasn't hit the same heights. But like I said, we were really counting on him. He's been our go-to man, or one of our major go-to men for the last 4 years. And so it is a big blow. But look, there has to be an opportunity. Like I said, if France have taken it on the chin, you have to take it on the chin, right, and move on into these games. And you can only play with the players that are fit and ready to go, right?
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's not the first injury, not the first player that's had to pull out. Might not be the last. There'll be more injuries throughout the tournament. So you never want to see it. You always want your best players playing out there, but it is what it is, and we move on, and it gives a tremendous opportunity to young Marco Tilio.
Okay, with only one match played before this week's show, our Peely Awards will launch next week fully, and we'd love to hear from you about which nomination for each category you like. So VIG and I will both nominate for the 5 categories our selection for that week, and each week we'll go through, and the audience will tell us who they thought got it right in each of those categories, and might also give us bragging rights to see who got more right and who was the better judge. But then at the end of the World Cup, we'll have our awards of who took out each of our Peely Awards for each of the categories. But just a quick update for the people following on at home. So this came about based on the 1995. I know it was a long time ago now, but
what, 1995?
1995 Jeez. American comedy Kicking and Screaming, starring Will Ferrell and Robert Duvall. And part of the bet they made on a football tournament is the father's Peely ball. So we will put some footage up to let you have a look and see, and especially if you're a parent, which we both are, you'll get a laugh out of it, because the father caught the Peely ball in the crowd, the Pele ball, as it should be said, and didn't want to give it to his son, so he kept it. So anyway, this will unravel a bit more. It'll make more sense as you go along. But our Peely Awards, we'll just run through them quickly. So as of next week, we'll both have nominations for these, and we'd love to hear what your thoughts are. You might even have something outside of what VIG and I have come up with, and we're totally open to that. That's why we love football, and everyone has an opinion on it. So the first one is our Best Goal Award, and we've called it the Double Ronnie. So obviously Ronaldo, the one with the crazy ass fringe, he who dominated World Cups for many years.
You want the Ronaldo haircut?
Yeah, the Ronaldo. He's the Brazilian version. He's the second on the all-time World Cup top goal scorers list with 15. And the second half of the Double Ronnie is a guy also known as Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he's only got a couple of billion followers on socials. And
who's that?
Yeah, there's some guy. He's the new breed with 7 goals. So, and he's hoping to add to that and close, get a little bit closer to Ronaldo, who's on 15. So.
And a little bit closer to Miroslav closer.
Yeah, Miroslav's on 16, Ronaldo's on 15, and then Cristiano back on 7. But there's a few players in between. But our best goal will be known as the Double Ronnie. The second award we'll be giving out is our best save, which will be known as our Safe as a Banks. So Gordon Banks, the England goalkeeper, one of the greatest keepers to have lived, and forever remembered for what is widely regarded as the greatest save of all time to deny Pele another World Cup goal in 1970. So probably fits in with our Peely Awards that he's the best save of all time, or his even best save was against Pele or Peely. So
Safe as a bank. I wonder what his interest rates are at the moment.
Safe as a bank. See, I know I wouldn't mind putting some money in there and getting a return on that. Even more so if he was around playing these days than back then when he was probably on $20 a week.
Tell you what, England could do with him, couldn't they?
Oh, they'd definitely love to have a keeper like him. Now, the next one is something outrageous, which we've called our Maradona kebab. So arguably the greatest of all time, and it's no disrespect to him because I love him and I think he's absolutely fantastic, and I miss that he's not here anymore, and I miss more that we don't get to watch him play.
We don't get to see him at the World Cup watching.
Yeah, we don't get to see him at the World Cup, so it is a sad time, but we thought we'd make it a little bit of a fun thing. You know, sometimes when someone passes, you say it's not a funeral or something where you're going to be sad. It's a celebration of the person. So we're celebrating him, arguably the greatest of all time. In a matter of minutes, he scored the most controversial goal of all time, followed by the most incredible, beating most of the England team. So this award will be for something that was just absolutely outrageous, whether it be good or bad. So it will be our Maradona Kebab Award. Our fourth award. Yeah, do you want to?
I'm just hungry already.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't mind a Maradona Kebab. It won't be long until someone opens up one of these, will they? And then they can steal our copyright.
We better trademark that.
I think we would. We've got plenty of those in the tank, but so they can borrow a few hours if they like. We'll see at the World Cup. There'll be the guys over there from SBS, and they'll say, "We've just gone and got ourselves a Maradona Kebab," and I'll say, "That's all right. You're welcome." Our fourth award is our Only in Qatar. So different time of year, no beer, something you can only see here. So pretty much this leaves it open for us. This is kind of a open season, a bit of we can choose whatever we see in there. That's just something that's it could be bad, good, indifferent, might just something you have to talk about or something everyone's talking about. But what else have they done that's different in the World Cup besides that they've put it in November close to Christmas instead of June or July, and they promise beer and then it's the pub with no beer? Is there anything else major they changed?
Air-conditioned stadiums.
Yeah, and the players have to play in inside-out outfits. Is that part of the rule they've changed it?
You got to run backwards the whole time. No sponsors on your kit. No nothing. So.
Yeah, so Only Qatar is Only in Qatar is our fourth award, and our fifth, which we just love because it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what language they speak, doesn't matter what country we're in or what league we're watching. The VAR, the VAR, and officiating stuff-ups. Right, it happens every week. We hope to God that we go into an A-League round and we don't have to talk about it, but there's just time and time again, you've got one simple job. Your simple job is to watch 10 seconds worth of footage. Now, you don't have to find the 10 seconds in the 94 minutes.
Right there. They give it to you.
They give you the 10 seconds and they say to you, here's 10 angles of it. All you have to decide is, did it hit his head, his hand, his foot? And they still get it wrong, and then they go and ask for help, and they call a friend, and it's just absolutely embarrassing. Now, I don't know. I'm guessing they're on good coin, so they should be doing a better job than that. Look, my excuse is I do a rubbish job on the show because I get paid jack, right? So that's my excuse. You might get paid a bit more, so you do a good job. But usually, if you're getting paid good money, you shouldn't.
You've got to produce.
You should feel guilty if you're getting paid excellent money and you can't even do your job right, and you have to 4 times a game look at 10 seconds worth of footage, less than a minute, and you can't get it right. Just sack yourself.
You don't have to watch the game. You just watch the replay.
That's all you have to do.
You have your feet up half the time just eating.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on. So yeah, they're our 5 awards. So our best goal, the double Ronnie. Best save, safe as a Banks. Something outrageous, the Maradona kebab. Our Only in Qatar, so pretty much our open season there is pretty much anything that we just grabbed that we love, that we think was interesting or everyone's talking about. And then our VAR and officiating stuff-ups, our VAR. Which one's your favourite award?
God, I'm looking forward to the Maradona kebab.
Yeah.
But I want to see some outrageous goals. I want to see some.
I'm going the double Ronnie.
I love the double Ronnie. Yeah,
the two-footed double Ronnie.
Double Ronnie. We could turn that into a burger as well, something like that.
We could, mate. We've got a whole menu here, I think, the way we're going. Only in Qatar. It comes with no beer. So you get an empty glass, right? So that's
Heineken 0%.
Yeah, 0 nothing.
There's a sponsor. There we go.
All right. So just before we get into our clinical finish, our finale of the show, this week's show, let's quickly have a snapshot at. I know the World Cup's already started and Group A is already underway, but I never had. I
didn't have Qatar going through either.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered if they played all 3 games or no games.
Qatar, they've got a few broken strings, mate.
It is true. So look, let's get into Group A. We can take it in turns here and just say if we agree or not agree, and if not, just tell us the adjustments. So Group A is Ecuador, Netherlands, Senegal and Qatar. I already had Ecuador and Netherlands going through, probably not in that order, probably the Dutch first, Ecuador second, but I like Senegal until I heard that Mane's not 100%, and then I didn't like their chances. So they've got some good stuff across the park. Do you agree with Netherlands and Ecuador?
Yeah, look, I think Netherlands topped the group, and now Ecuador have won their first game. Senegal, no Mane. It's going to
is he definitely not playing?
He's been ruled out. So definitely they're going to struggle.
They've still got some quality in Koulibaly in that, but I think he was that X factor. It was like when the previous World Cup,
you take the main player out of your squad
when Salah pulled out, and everyone said, "Oh yeah, they're still a good team. They qualified." No, you just lost a guy that's probably worth 2 to 3 goals and a couple of assists.
And I think that's going to have an effect on the other players as well. I think it's going to put a dampener on their World Cup, I guess, not being able to play with Sadio Mane.
All right, so let's move into Group B, which starts tomorrow morning. Who do you like there?
I'm gonna tip USA and Wales to go through. I'm saying England are the big flops of this tournament.
The good news is when the English all write in or they call up and they start abusing us, I won't understand what they're saying, right? Hopefully they've had a few beers and they'll be saying, "He's worry." They're going to give you a hard time. But you know what? You did call Western United. This is the bad news for English fans. You did call Western United last year's champions who have great quality across the park, who were excellent last year, that you said they won't make the 6 this year in a competition of 6 teams. No, there's 12, isn't there?
Yeah.
But you called it, and they've only had their first win just before the international break or the World Cup break.
Yeah, so look, if England don't get a win after 3 games, then sayonara. They're going home.
Well, the funny thing is, it's not coming home if they get knocked out in the group stage, but I don't think you're coming home either, because I think the Poms are going to find you and belt the.
They might be out of you. They'll come out of you.
All right, look, for me, I'm going to say England and Wales to go through. So I think they'll go through. Like I said, I think the US seem to get this free path every World Cup, where I think they need to go into a group where they have more competition, and we'll see where they're really at. I know it needs to be that part of the world. I know that's where they're from and all this sort of thing, but I just reckon that for a team that has been around in a lot of World Cups, I think they get a pretty easy pass. So for me, I'd like to see them work a bit harder, but for me, I'd say England and Wales. I know we've all forgot about Iran here. They may stick it up us and say, you don't know what you're talking about, but look, that could happen, and if they do,
it could. Look, it's in the Middle East. They're acclimatised. They're used to those conditions, but I just can't see them getting out of that group.
Well, look, the funny thing is when you say acclimatised, I thought that maybe my roughies or my dark horses would be a team from the Middle East or from Africa because of the heat, but I've been told their aircon there is better than 5-star hotels in Australia. So I don't know who's paying the electricity bills. Good luck with that one. Maybe they're putting it on their card.
The problem is when you go to a 5-star hotel, you can never get the aircon right. It's either too cold or too hot.
It is true.
Right? You walk into the room, you're freezing. You turn it off. You come back. A couple of hours later, you go back in, and it's boiling hot. You got to turn it back on. You're too cold. You can't win, mate. All
right, let's get into Group C. So every neutral fan's favourite team is in this group, and that's Messi and Argentina, because of the fact that it may be his last, and he's done everything in football right except for winning a World Cup. So this would top off a brilliant career, but there's others in that same sort of boat. Comes to mind Modric, Ronaldo, and so on. But for me here, I'm going to go with Argentina and Mexico. Now, I know Poland and a guy called Lewandowski won't be too happy, and they have.
He's never scored in a World Cup.
He's never scored in the World Cup. They also have the assist king at the moment. I think he plays for your club, Napoli.
Zelensky.
Yeah, Zelensky. He's been absolutely
he's a great player.
I just like Argentina to go through, but I think Mexico will top the group, and I think Argentina will come through second, which will mean they've got a hard path. So if they can win it, he hasn't just won it; he's won it in style, right? Because they've taken the back path with bare feet.
If you're going to win it, you're going to take out the best teams, all right?
Go the back roads with bare feet.
You might as well do it the hard way.
Yeah. So what about you? Do you agree with that?
I agree with Argentina. I think Argentina will get out of this group. With Mexico, I just don't think they have a strong enough squad, and they were pretty poor in qualifying as well. So I'm going to throw a massive smoky out in this one, and I'm going to say Saudi Arabia are going to get out of this group with. I think they're going to take 4 points. They're going to beat Mexico or Poland and draw with one of them, and they'll lose to Argentina. So
I don't know what the official drawer is for this World Cup. I know it used to be the octopus, and there's been other things in that. If you get Saudi Arabia through to the knockout phase and send England packing home.
Huge.
They're going to get you. No, they're going to get you to go and start.
Someone's going to come out of you.
No, I'm telling you, they're going to call you up from Qatar, and they're going to say, "We need you to come over," and we're going to have Josh.
Put me in a tank and just have me swimming around.
100%. And maybe in your speedos, you can take your son with you because he likes ripping his gear off, and you can swim around and just tell us who you think. Hold some signs up to the window.
If that happens, Budgie Smuggler, if you're listening, throw me a pair, please.
All right, I'm going to give you the group that I know you're loving. So Group D, who do you like here?
This is tough because look,
don't sit on the fence here, mate.
It's going to be it's an extremely difficult group for Australia. I think France and Denmark.
So is the curse is the Egyptian curse here of never getting through is not going to come into play here? You think?
I can't see it happening. Honestly, I can't see it. Even without Benzema, I can't see France not getting out of this group.
Who gets out with them?
It's a flip of the coin between Australia and Denmark.
So France to go through as first place, and then either Australia or Denmark to take second spot.
I actually think I could be hugely wrong. I think Denmark might top the group and France might finish second.
Okay.
Look, Wednesday morning's huge for us here. If we can get something out of that game miraculously, if we can do something. We're going to have to be at our best, and France are going to have to be at their worst for us to get anything out of that game.
I'm going to stick with what we've always done, which is we speak 100% the truth. I am going to go with Denmark and France as well. As much as I'd love to see the Socceroos through, and there's no team in the tournament, especially with Italy not there, that I'd love to see prove me wrong more and send me messages saying you're a clown, you don't know what you're talking about. I'd love those messages. I look forward to it.
If I get egg on my face from this, I will take it.
I would too, but the thing is, we call it as we see it, and the honest truth is I don't see it at the moment. But I also have got there's a lot of friends of the show, Goodwin and Tilio and so on, that we've had on the show, Redmayne and so on, that we're hoping because we like these guys.
I've got my fingers crossed under the
Yeah.
table that we can pull off something miraculous and get out of this group. It's going to be extremely difficult. And, that's just the reality of where Australia are at the moment. There's no hiding from it. France are an unbelievable squad, world champions. And Denmark, they were lucky not to make it through to the final of the Euros. So.
And hello from Tunisia. They're also in the group.
What are they doing down there?
Just so you know, there's also a team in there called Tunisia.
If they make it out of the group, that'll be a dead set miracle as well. So, stranger things have happened, but it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult.
All right, let's move into Group E. So Group E is Germany, Japan, Spain, and Costa Rica. Only a brave man here would go against the powerhouses of Germany and Spain. Germany haven't been at their best the last few years. Spain, I think, lack a striker, but we're not talking about going all the way here and winning the tournament. We're just talking about getting out of your suitcase, getting out of the group you're in, right, and just getting out into the free open land of a knockout phase. So for me, I'm not quite sure what order, but if I had to be pushed on it, I'd probably say for consistency, Germany go through as the group winners with Spain. So it's not a surprise. It's not a great shock, or it's not like I'm a great judge, but that's where I think I'd go. But I do think that Japan and Costa Rica will make it harder for both these teams, and people think it will be.
Yeah, look, and look, I think we need to remember, I think South Korea beat Germany last World Cup. So, look, it's an interesting group. It's a very difficult group. I just don't think Japan are in great form at the moment. I think they lost to Canada 2-1 the other day. So Costa Rica, I can't really see them doing much in the group. But for me, it's between Spain, Germany, and Japan. And at the moment, I've got to go Spain and Germany.
Okay, so that order: Spain first, Germany second.
I'm going to go Spain. I actually think they're going to finish on the same points, so it will come down to. I don't know if it goes goal difference or head to head first, but
mate, if they finish on the same points, honestly, I don't know if I can even face you again. All right, so the next group is Group F. You want to lead us through that one?
Yeah, so we got Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. This is difficult. I think.
So do you like here that? And I know that you're big on analysing all this. Do you like here that the last few major tournaments, Belgium have been talked up, right? Everyone's saying Belgium, their time has to come. This is their golden generation. They've got all these players, and they're not saying anything about Belgium.
They're talking them down now, yeah. Because they've been disappointing in the last couple major tournaments, right?
They have. But when you still look across the board, right, okay, they lose probably their biggest name player of the last few years. He's gone to Madrid, and I think he's forgotten that he has to play real football, and he just wants to play FIFA and eat takeaway. But
they just send his brothers now.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Hazard brother he's Thorgan. He's fantastic. Lukaku's good as long as he's not playing in the Premier League, so he's fine. He's all right. So they got plenty. Courtois was amazing last year for Real Madrid. So we forget about the quality.
There's no denying the quality they have and the talent, but it's a tough group, and I'm gonna say they go through with Canada.
Are you going to say Croatia don't get through?
I'm saying Croatia don't get out of this group.
Honestly, I don't know what I bet you, but I think there's I wouldn't care what group Canada's in. I don't reckon Canada's getting out of any group. I don't care if I dropped them in. I don't care if I picked them up now, flew across the middle of the draw and just dropped them in anywhere. I've got no time for Canada, and it's not anything against them personally.
I think they were the best team in CONCACAF qualifying. They've got Alphonso Davies, who plays in a more attacking role. I think they're going to be.
It's 11 aside.
Honestly,
not one aside.
I think they're going to surprise people.
Okay, so you're going with Belgium and Canada and the 2018 runners up. They're not even going to get out their group.
I don't think so. No.
So this could be a new curse.
So it could be the runners up. The curse of the runners up.
The curse of the runners up. So we're going to start something new.
I've started a new trend. All right.
I'm going Belgium and Croatia. I can't go past them. And to be honest, I reckon even Morocco will finish higher than Canada. So there's that.
All
right. Let's go into Group G, where everyone's talking about it. The hottest thing. It's the coolest thing to say. Who do you think's going to win the World Cup? Brazil. Who's going to be runners up? Brazil B. And who's going to make the semis? Brazil C. They've got enough depth to have three sides that all qualify and make it to the semi-finals of the World Cup if it was a possibility. They've got so much depth to players they've left behind, and what's probably a really encouraging sign for the Brazil team is when they showed footage of people like Anthony getting told that they were in the squad and watching how much it means.
That's probably the best thing. The reaction from the families and everyone sitting in front of the television and the announcement going out to the whole nation.
And they're really going to discuss.
That's incredible.
What's the best sport in the world?
That's
and
incredible.
You watch that, and they're really going to sit there.
There's not even a contest. It's a no contest. That's 100%.
What do you think happened when they go and tell a player that, oh, yeah, instead of representing Australia, which you had before, or playing Origin, you're now going to play for Lebanon in the World Cup because you didn't make the Australian team? They're going to go, yeah, it's the fourth team I've played for in the last World Cup series. It's like, how can you compare that to...
I've got grandparents from 4 different nationalities. I've played for all 4, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? We'll get to the stage once in rugby league. They'll say this is the first player ever to make the semi-finals with 4 different teams.
Look, honestly, yeah, it's a no contest. Football is the greatest game.
Yeah, so as I said, absolutely amazing. And if you don't get a rush or just this special feeling about football any other time, watching that, a player who's on big money go and they're no different to anyone else. They just share it with their family. But moving off the fuzzy nice feel, let's get back to Group G. It's Brazil, Cameroon, Serbia, Switzerland. For me, I think Switzerland, they always say that Switzerland's the neutral. The neutral. They are neutral because they make every tournament. They never do anything. So for me, I'm going to sit there and say they're
stuck in neutral.
Yeah, they're stuck in neutral. They're almost the shortest price favourites ever to qualify for a World Cup and the shortest price favourites never get out their group. So I'm going Brazil here. And I was going to say Serbia, but I have to stick with it. I think an African team or a Asian team or a Middle East team will go further because of the heat, even if they are saying they got aircon. So I'm going to go Brazil and Cameroon here.
All right. Nice one. Look, I'm going Brazil 100%. They come out of this group, and I'm going to go with Serbia.
Yeah, I knew you would. I reckon you got some intel here. I think you've got a few Serbian friends and that too, playing around the NPL with you. Some guys from Bonnyrigg or something. Are you getting some intel?
Someone's giving me a hot tip. No. Look, I just think
the red hot tip.
I think they're a good football side. They've got a lot of young talent coming through, and yeah, I think they're capable of getting out of this group and picking up points against Switzerland and Cameroon.
All right, the last group, Group H. Take it away.
Big group: Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea. So this is going to be a tough group. For me, it's got to be Portugal coming out of this group, and God, it's honestly a flip of the coin from the other 3. I'm going to go with Uruguay.
They're my roughies. They're my roughies.
I'm not confident on it, but Korea. Son's been out injured. He's come back. He's wearing the face mask. He said he's good to go, but that's got to affect the way you play. Having that thing on your head. If something
happens to your moneymaker, then you got to be a bit careful, right? Because he earns all that money because he looks good. If he's got to have
doing Burberry photo shoots and everything,
you're not getting as many endorsement deals. So look after your face. Worry about playing second once your face is all right. And I love Son, obviously being a Spurs boy, but I just hope he's fit enough to play in the tournament because without him, they're none of Buckley's.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that mask better have a few superpowers in it. But yeah, like you said, for me, I can't go past Portugal, and then I'm going to say Uruguay after that.
Uruguay, my roughies. I think everything has a formula for me. So I love in the Melbourne Cup, and it hasn't been successful the last 10 years. But I love the Irish or the European stayers. This is all about for me the South American teams. So I like Brazil, I like Argentina, but I like Uruguay. I think Uruguay have got some players in form. You've got up front, you've got a tried and trusted in someone like Suarez playing alongside a young bull like Darwin Núñez. I think Bentancur at Spurs at the moment is in unbelievable form. There's also, is it Valverde, the guy that's setting the world on fire?
Bentancur, saw him play live, is an unbelievable player. Federico Valverde is, for me, he's up there with the top 5 midfielders in the world. Yeah,
so for me, I really like Uruguay. I'm even going to go as far to say that whether they finish on the same points or if Uruguay top the group and Portugal comes second. So for me, unfortunately, Ghana and South Korea, you'll be watching at home. Hopefully you've got your paid subscriptions because you won't be able to watch.
And I'm unfortunate to Portugal know, though, that they have to make the top 2 to get out of the group. It's not, you don't finish third and then go on and win the Euros.
Yeah.
I hope someone's told them that they have to finish in the top 2.
Yeah, they have. I think that was part of the discussion with Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan, yeah. Ronaldo, I think Piers told Ronaldo about it and he's gone back and told the team. All right. That's why Bruno was so frosty with the handshake, I think, because Ronaldo said to him, mate, we've got to finish top 2. And Bruno goes, what do you mean? I thought it was top 3.
I reckon Arteta loved that interview. He would have been sitting there. That's the second most enjoyable thing he's seen this year other than the football his team's been playing in the Premier League. But all right, that's the end of our World Cup wrap. As I said, next week our Peely Awards come good. We start to give those awards out and we'll start putting up some excellent footage, not only of how we came up with our crazy name, but how we also some footage from the awards. But all right, just before we get into our clinical finish, give us your your finalists, your top finals, depending how obviously the cards fall. Who do you like?
So who's playing in the World Cup final?
Yeah, who's going to play in the World Cup final?
Brazil and Spain.
Okay. I am going to say Brazil. I'd love to see Brazil and Argentina, but I don't think they can based on...
They might meet before that. Is that right?
Yeah, look, I think they might. I'm also worried with Brazil being on the same side of the draw as Uruguay, so my roughies can't get through. So I'm going to say Brazil and Belgium, if it's possible. I don't know if it is, but one of those two to take it out. So, yeah. All right. So
anything's possible, mate. Anything's possible.
It is. Our clinical finish. This is our ending of our show. So a couple of quick things here. What the foot? So our WTF award. Why no Friday women's games? A-League women's, we have 3 games screen, like we're in South America and we're sharing one TV screen at the bar. 3 games on the one screen and 2 games on Sunday. I looked ahead to see if this was just a one-off thing or maybe because there's no games for a couple of weeks.
I'm no genius, but I think it actually costs money to run the lights at football stadiums.
Yeah.
So, hence why 1 p.m., 4 p.m. and 3 p.m. kickoff, no lights. No funds, no money to run the lights.
I agree, but guess what? Sometimes you have to realise that you have to be a serious league, and if you want to be a serious league, you can't be using fields that I could put my cows out the pasture on, and also you can't be having games that aren't on a Friday night. We've got no local football at the moment. It's a perfect opportunity to get fans out to games because you can watch the World Cup.
Nothing happening on a Friday night.
They're 3 o'clock.
You can watch. You can watch a women's league, A-League game, and roll into a World Cup at 9 p.m.
Well, I don't know. That's for me. The only other thing I would have had as my what the foot, which even came close, was Harry Kewell jumping the gun by saying we will see where the A-League is at after we've played Celtic. Now, you guys have just had a 24-hour flight. It sounded like a comment where not you were hoping that the A-League's come a long way. You were hoping to say, oh, well, we're going to touch them up and the league's got a long way to go. So I think he had a little bit of egg on his face. He's still a great player, probably one of the best 3 of all time for the Socceroos. But when you're the assistant coach, not the head coach, right? Keep your comments to yourself. I'd rather let Ange talk on that topic, but that's my Harry Kewell bash. Anyway, moving on to our TFR fantasy. It's benched until after the World Cup, so I took a nice lead, even though you made the comeback in the round just before the shutdown. So you've got, I think, another 346 days to make changes before our next round, but I'll still miss it anyway, and I won't get Craig Goodwin in.
I'll tell you what, I actually logged in on Friday afternoon to make some changes, and I thought, oh, hang on a sec, there's no games this weekend.
That's good.
So I'm on time. I'm ready to go.
I don't know my luck. I've tried for 3 weeks to bring Goodwin in. I keep missing the cutoff because his team plays on the Friday night. If he was in the women's league, we'd be fine because there's no Friday games. But I know my luck. I'll bring him in and he won't play after the World Cup.
He won't come back.
Yes, they'll sign him up. They will. They'll sign him up there. He'll go and play with Trent Sainsbury in the Qatar League. A-League women's fixtures this week. The pick of the matches for me, there's 2. Big Blue between Sydney and Melbourne Victory, which is always a cracking clash. And the new teams square off, Wellington and Western United. So Western United, after a fantastic victory against last year's champions, Melbourne Victory, and Wellington, who got touched up by a very good City side. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see the 2 new guys up against each other. Probably no stage fright considering you've had 1 game and you're up against another team who's kind of building from scratch. So I think that'll be interesting, but definitely the Big Blue's the one for me.
Yeah, definitely. That's the big standout of the fixtures. But, more football. We get another 5 matches and more to talk about next week.
Most certainly. If you missed any part of the show or you want to listen to the other episodes, where can they catch it, VIG?
Yeah, they can catch us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, or all good podcast platforms, and up on YouTube, the video up on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so enjoy the World Cup this week. Enjoy the late nights, the early mornings, the millions of coffees and the no sleep, but it's definitely worth it. So enjoy every second of that. We hope you enjoyed the show even half as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. And until next week, enjoy the football. And as we say, rise up and join the football revolution. We'll catch you again next week.